And I just put on,
Go ahead.
okay. I just put on my do not disturb so that my phone won't go ding, 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 ding every time somebody tries to call me.
All right. Have a good show. Bye.
Thank you, Frank. You guys
Yes,
are ready?
I
Yeah.
am ready if I can possibly be ready.
All right. Let me see if I'm set up here. Okay, let's do this. I'm starting now.
Okay.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Jazz Talk. This is a conversation that I love having. My name is Nicole Mitchell Gantt. I'm the Director of Jazz Studies at University of Pittsburgh. And from time to time, we have exciting conversations with amazing musicians. And we really try to put Pittsburgh front and center. And we're definitely doing that with this talk tonight because we have as our special guest, Roger Humphries, the renowned, excellent, amazing drummer, performer who's played all over the world and is an amazing educator as well. And we have James Johnson III, who's also known for being very versatile and working with a lot of different artists of different stylistic aesthetics and being amazing at each thing that he does and teaching also at University of Pittsburgh. So yay, everyone. I know we don't have a live audience that we could see, but they're there and they're listening. So I'll just be like, woo, yay. Thanks you all for being here. And part of the reason why we have our wonderful guests is because they will be performing this weekend. We definitely want people to come and hear their concert. This is a special program we're doing called Give the Drummers Some, because as we know in jazz, the drum set was literally invented by jazz music, by jazz musicians, by African-American culture. You know, people in African-American culture had invented the drum set. So any music you hear that has the sound, whether it be electronic or the real thing, we have to give thanks to jazz and we have to give thanks to Black folks in the US because that's where it comes from, you know. So I love to hear my guests to speak on that. But before I do that, I just want to give a little bit of bio just for any newcomers that might be just being introduced to these artists that are very well known in Pittsburgh and New York already, and probably a lot of other places as well. But out of respect, I just want to say thank you to Roger Humphries. You're a legend. You know, you're a great mentor to so many musicians. You've played with, you know, Horace Silver. I want to hear some stories about you playing with Ray Charles. I really want to hear about that. But so you have an extensive reputation and career, and we're very, very honored to have you tonight. And then James Johnson, who also has an amazing, comes from a family legacy of musicians. I'm sure most of you know about AAMI, the African American Music Institute, and Daddy, who, you know, all of us know, James Johnson, Dr. J. You have come up in Pittsburgh and you have contributed so much to the Pittsburgh scene. And you all, both of you have a great rapport and relationship with each other. So I want to hear about all of that. And I don't want to do all the talking. So first of all, let's just talk about the drums. Let's talk about the drum set and how important the role is in jazz music, but not just jazz, but all popular music that we have in this country and music around the world that utilizes the drum set, because the roots really do come from African-American culture. So I'd love to hear you all take your spin on that first. Who wants to go first?
Roger.
Well, yes, you know, as you keep playing your music, the more you learn from other people giving you the history of what's happening. And you're right, it's like the heartbeat of music, you know. Matter of fact, I think drums was the first thing that ever was invented to send a message, you know. You couldn't sing that loud to sing all the way across the pond, what have you. So what they had the drums, man, send a message back and forth to James and me. And like it's incredible, you know, like when you think about how they put it together, when I say put it together, the drummers, man, that come from New Orleans, how they put the rhythm together, you know what I mean? There was no music written for these people to do this. Just in their hearts and their soul. And it was a gift, it was a talent that they had to make this conversation with the drums.
Yes, definitely. When you said that, I thought about my husband and I had gone to Mali a few years ago, and we were walking from one village to another, literally walking miles. And our friend who was taking us, who was kind of guiding us, taking us to visit, he heard something and then he said, oh man, we're like, what happened? Because we're out in the middle of nowhere. He's like, we're like, what happened? He said, the chief in the next village just died. And we're like, how did you know that? Or how did you find out? And he said, didn't you hear the drums? This is just a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so that definitely the idea of drums being communication and the power of that code that can come through the rhythms and the sound. And that's something that's still important today. And the legacy you're talking about, how it started in this country is, you know, it's really important for students to really know that, you know, and
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. From like where all these things come from, where how people can make conversations, you know, and talk through the instrument, you know. Mm-hmm. Yes, James, you know something about that, son?
Yeah, well, not as much as you said it well. I mean, like you said, drums it's commutative, you know. It's there was rhythm before there was sound. So, and you know, the drums is it's a thing that it sits on the bottom. It's the support, you know. So it's like bottom up. That's, you know, if you think about it that way. So
you all both play drum set. You play specifically that contraption. The trap set is your instrument of choice.
And when you say it like that, you know, I thought many times. Also, James can probably take this too. Like we play drums, right? But the drums picked us. The drum kind of choosed us, you know. It's not so like we so bad we just gonna just pick up the drums and play the drum. Once you start playing it, man, there's something that just suck you in that you can't let go, you know. I remember as a kid in my family, because I would go upstairs like where the bedroom is and practice. And some of the people would say, sure be glad that boy stopped beating on them drums, man. You know, but it wasn't in my family. It was just some other people just made a comment. But it is something that you just can't let go, you know, once you start playing it. And that's why I said the drum seemed like it chose me, you know, and I'm fortunate that I have the gift, you know, to play that, communicate.
Because you started when you were just over being a toddler, right? You were like 4.5, 5 years old or something.
Well, I started. I started.
Mm-hmm. And your parents were supportive. Yeah.
Well, not only that, you know, like you said, you're being supported, but I'm the youngest out of 10 kids, and I had 2 older brothers, one that played sax and the one that played the drums, and my brother Norman like taught me how to play. But as I think about it, when we go back in time, being that I was only 3 years old and them playing all the time, seemed like it just got into me, you know, like got into my head some kind of way. And when you're playing drums, for me anyway, as a drummer, you hear somebody play something, and what gets into you, all of a sudden you repeated what they did. And it's a connection that we have, you know, like, and it's not teach you how to read or anything. They just play a beat. you know, and we never realized that, James and I, when you're
Yeah.
a kid, it's a 5-stroke roll, but nobody
Yeah.
told you what it is. You just repeat what they do, you know.
I gotta agree with that because I think, as my parents would say, like when I was younger, I don't actually remember actually trying any other instrument except drums. Like that was like the first instrument I gravitated to, and it was like I stuck with it. But it all started with like pots and pans, of course. Pulling out mom's pots and pans and trash cans and pillows and getting all these sounds. So I was probably 3, 4 doing that. So, but yeah, so that was an attachment. As soon as I just had some spoons in my hands and at the time and just rhythm. That was it. Like that rhythm was supposed to be but being around my father, who was a choir director, and we had a lot of choir rehearsals at the house. I was always hearing harmony because dad would be giving out parts, so a lot of that really helped with the development of being able to hear that stuff today. For me, it's just being at home, and listen to my dad have all these rehearsals and things like that. So yeah, good time.
And James, like you said, being around, it seemed like you get into your ear, and it's something that you fall in love with, you know what I mean? And you start making sense out of it, because when you first start, that's nice, you just beating things, but after a period of time, people just don't hear you beating, they hear you having a conversation, and making sense, finding the beat that goes with whatever the voices are. And nobody taught this to you. Matter of fact, when we come up, we constantly be listening to other people play other songs, other drummers. And for you to realize it just get inside of us, man, and it's something that you fall in love with. And like I said, you're blessed, to have that inside you.
What's amazing too is the coordination, right? I mean, you're using all your limbs and you have to hear all of these different tones, right? Because you all, I'm sure, tune your heads to different pitches, and then you have the cymbals and you have your own aesthetic. Every drummer seems to have their own aesthetic for the different types of cymbals and the duration and the overtones. And it's very complex, right? So it's very fascinating to me how you all are able to have all that going and still be able to, like you say, communicate with everyone else in the band. It's like, one hand you have this role, like with people, if there aren't drums, they feel lost. You know what I mean? So it's like you're kind of like the person behind the wheel in a sense. But on the other hand, you have all these opportunities for color, like bringing in just textures and all kinds of possibilities. So how do you guys navigate all of that complexity of that? Or how do you think about it? Like, how do you even work with all that?
And talk about that, Raj.
No, James.
I guess for me,
thank you.
It's a combination of a bunch of things. I always tell my students, I was just fortunate enough to be in a household with music, and with my dad and my mother constantly, and that was a blessing, first of all. And then as my father would take me to hear him play, when I was younger, I remember he'd taken me to hear him with Greg Humphries and Nathan Davis and Dwayne, and it was that group all the time. So, and I would just ride with my father to these gigs, and that was helpful. Going to see music. I had a good teacher. Get a good teacher. I had Roger as my teacher.
Right.
I had Greg Humphries as my teacher, Roger's nephew. So, listening to music.
I think he froze for a second.
Being surrounded. Sorry. Having a family, that was into music was obviously an advantage, but yeah, those combination things, find a good teacher and practicing. You gotta practice your instrument, and you gotta absorb yourself with a lot of different type of music, not just the music that you're comfortable with.
Right.
Okay? You know what I mean? Just so that's always helpful, to be able to come, I guess, not perfect, but complete, as a musician, yeah. And I'm sure you can throw in some more, and, so you can add to that pot, I'm sure, but that's,
But you're right on. You're right in place with that because like when you're coming up, it's not about you reading or none of that stuff. It's about you being exposed to the music, and before you realize it, just sinks in your head. Because as a kid, one of the greatest days as a young kid that I remember, because I was the youngest one, man, when you wake up and the record player would be playing Ray Charles, Count Basie, Sarah Vaughan, everybody, I was exposed to all these people. And that's one of the greatest schools you can get into, being exposed to listening, because when you listen, you have the opportunity to take all that in. And then what is so nice about it, coming up, the other musician would tell you, well, don't feel bad because you copy some idea that Max or Art Blakey did. They do not lock you up for stealing things in music. And everybody have stole something in music from somebody else, but you still ain't gonna play it the exact same way they do it. It's just something that goes in your ear, and you say, oh man, I like that. And you try to remember that, the phrasing, whatever it is in drumming. Yeah. So we've been fortunate to do that and to come up with great people.
Go ahead, James.
No, I think that's what we are. I think we're eventually a combination of everything we absorb and everything we listen to,
And it goes back to conversation.
All mixing it. I'm sorry.
It goes back to conversation, like you're actually having a conversation with the history and with the legacy, with, the artists that inspire you, by connecting with them and learning what they do. And then that helps to bring out in you your own voice, and that's just the beauty of how jazz works, it's
then
like
you end up finding your own personality. You're grabbing all these things and you say, oh man, that sounds just, listen to James, man. And somebody else do something like that. That sounds like James playing, but that's what it comes to, like in the conversation and what we've been playing in our voices. Yeah, we're so fortunate though, baby. And to be in a place like Pittsburgh, where you had all these great musicians coming out of here and helping you to learn, what you like to do, what style, whatever it is that you like to do.
Could I hear from both of you what it was like in terms of starting out your career in Pittsburgh? Because I'm sure it's very different.
James, go ahead, son.
Yeah, I mean, just I guess, I started playing when I was really young. I mean, Roger could probably remember the first time I played before I remember the first time I played, but and then, just playing gigs at the early, in high school, starting to play around town and playing with Jimmy Ponder. Remember playing with Kenny Blake, and just remember in high school, just, that's how I was kind of became connected to the scene, just playing with different cats around town. And studying with Greg at early age, and then meeting Roger at Kappa High School was when I was under Roger for those 4 years. And then after that, I kind of said, after high school, I said, I'm going to take a break, college. I don't know. Might not go to college right away. And then, I was doing a show with Billy Porter. He was directing The Wiz, and then Nelson Harrison. Got to give credit to Nelson Harrison, who gave me a call and said, Ahmad Jamal is looking for a drummer. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's Ahmad Jamal. And then, hung up the phone, and Nelson said he'll be in town on this day be at James Street, and Ahmad will be there. He wants to listen to you. And I ended up going to James Street. It was Roger Humphries' session. And Ahmad was in the audience. And he called me and Paul Thompson up, because Paul Thompson was going for this gig too. So we played Nutville. And we played Nutville, and the song was over. And we gathered at the end of the night and talked with Ahmad and Nelson. Thank you, Nelson, for that. I gotta thank Nelson for that, because he was that connection. So everything else is history. I ended up playing with Ahmad, and then that obviously helped me. I did that for about 7 years off and on. So
beautiful.
And then,
so it's really important that people come in, like people are coming to Pittsburgh, and also being open to connecting with the musicians here and having that collaboration. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just, Roger's a huge part of that. And my father and Greg and Dwayne and Nathan, just the whole, they're all part of that, just where I am today is, and how I was exposed to that at such a young age often. So, I owe it to them, so, yeah.
And one of the things we always, if it wasn't me, it was another person who helped me out. And it's always been passed around that way, the love of music, It's such a strong thing, and it helps people all the time. When you think about, look how many people come together to listen to the musician. And if it wasn't us in the club like that, wouldn't be all them people in the club to listen to it. It brings joy, happiness, and peace of mind. It really saved me. It really saved me during the COVID, because a few times I thought I was losing it. You know what I mean? But I go turn on the music on the radio and go out and do a gig. No, I'm back alive again. I'm all right. But it's something, man. When you get this in you and you live with this every day, how it can make you be so, at peace. Put it that way. At peace, bring love and joy to me.
That's real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the other thing is, both of you have had international careers, played with, very famous artists, but yet to educate is also an important aspect of who you are and what you do. And I know Dr. Humphries, for you, coming back, you really you had an intent with it. Like you said, look, this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to come, and I'm going to come back, and I'm really going to focus on giving back. And can you share a little bit of that with us?
Yeah, yes, I can. After being on the road after a period of time, and you get opportunity to listen to other people's lifestyle and what have you. And you think about how fortunate you are, to come from Pittsburgh, where all this beautiful music is, and how everybody treats you and everything. And and it dawned on you, all the things that I have. So being with Ray Charles really did it for me, because you travel so much. And I had my beautiful wife who was with me, and my children, and all of a sudden, when I did that trip with Ray Charles, we was in Washington, D.C., and my wife brought the kids to the concert, and it was just Roger Jr. and Michelle. And my son came down the hallway after I opened up the door, and my daughter, Michelle, said, "Hey, Mommy, who's that guy?" And messed me up. My daughter asked my wife, "Who was I?"
Wow.
I said, "That's cool." But that put the time on my thing for me mentally. I said, I'm going to go back to Pittsburgh because it's very important. I'm 1 out of 10. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm the youngest 1 out of 10. And I always had a close family, and I wanted mine to be the same way. Mm-hmm. So it just dawned on me, in New York City, because I had family lived there. And it hit me all of a sudden and said, no, man, I'm going to go back to Pittsburgh and have my music and have my cake and eat it too, which was
that's right.
Which my wife and kids, and do all the musical things so we can play, start a band, and the whole 9 yards, because Pittsburgh is it, baby.
we're thankful you made that decision, Roger. I'm thankful you did, and you know, all my peers. So
yeah, I am too, man. I am too. And what is so great about it, because of the fact I came back to Pittsburgh and you guys doing the same thing that I wanted to do coming back to Pittsburgh was to pass it on. And you guys, every time I turn around, there's another young guy underneath of them, man, that they playing with. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a lot of love involved, baby.
Yes. Beautiful. Wow. That's, imagine like just hearing that, and for other musicians to hear that and to know how important family is, that even in the music that we do, you need balance, you know what I mean? And so many times it's so hard. You have to work hard to have that, you know what I mean? Because you can get pulled away with these opportunities.
Yes.
And especially it's important, I think, for students to hear that, you know, to have that in mind when they're reaching for their dreams. So thank you for sharing that. And honestly, like how do we get a hold of this documentary on you? Because I know that was 2017, I think.
Yes.
And it's nowhere to be found, but I would love to have us show it at Pitt, if there's a way to do that.
And are we speaking of the one that passed it on?
Pass it on,
Yes, man. Yeah. I would make sure when I get an opportunity, we hook up. I'll give you one.
Okay, and then we can just figure out a way to show it and have another conversation around that, because it just seems really amazing. I also wanted to ask you, Roger, about your compositions, you know, because you're also a composer, and you have these different titles that really have to do with resilience, you know, they have to do with, you know, first of all, being optimistic, and also like endurance and resilience, you know, like keep the faith and don't give up and the next step. And you know what I mean? Like, tell me a little bit about what is, you know, for you writing your music, what does it mean to you as a composer to do your own things? And I love, like, I really love the next step, because it's like you're making that conversation with giant steps, and then you put in, you know, you bringing us through the blues, you're bringing us into new grooves, you know, with it. And tell us a little about that.
Well, I tell you what, I'm very fortunate because I have people around me who love me, you know, and what happened to me, I came up with these melodies, you know, and wow, and then all of a sudden it comes to you. It's not magical to me anyway, but it'll come to a person saying like, man, I come with this melody. How am I going to get it done now? Who's going to write it? I got, James, all these beautiful people around me, baby, that love me, man. Where's it at, Mr. Humphries? I got it. Give me the melody. And they take it, you know, and they help write the tune for me. It's the tune with the melodies coming out of me, but I do not write the music, you understand? And and that's how, you know, things have happened. You know, that was one of my greatest things that happened for me when I was doing the teaching at Kappa, when Harry Clark asked me to teach at Kappa. And one of the things I thought about, I said, I never had the opportunity when I was coming up to get the music down, to have a teacher. I could have, but I didn't, because I was so busy moving all the time until I didn't have time to stop to have someone to teach me. And what it is, you know, when you're coming up, it was kind of scary at first. And then when you realize it, as you grow older, teaching another one how to read the music is like the English teacher taught you how to read. It's like the math teacher taught them how to do math. And because if you don't have it, you don't know what 2 and 2 is, right? even though you got the other stuff. And what is so beautiful about it, when I started teaching, like with James on the other ones, they were reading. I was going along with them, but at the same time, I was learning so much from myself and how to also teach. when you teach, you give something gentle to a person. You don't get an attitude because the kid don't have this right. No, and that's how children like their teacher. Otherwise, they don't like the teacher, even though you give them more stuff. But the teacher's the drag. But anyway, they had that communication with them, man, and to see them in school and leave out and somebody give them a sheet of music like this. Okay, all right, here's your music, and see them take the music and read it off. It's to make me feel so good, man, because they already got the gift, but now they got the understanding how to interpret what somebody put on paper. And that's what that is really all about, baby. You got a gift, but being able to interpret what's on the paper, your eighth note, you know what I'm saying? Your roll, your triplet, and all these different things that you play all the time anyway, but you can't read it. And what is so beautiful about it, man, because the kids are scaring everybody. Why? They already got a gift. And then on top of that, they give me that piece of paper, I read it, shit, And I love it. I'm loving it every day, man, to see what they do have and how they're able to turn it into a profession. This is a business. Most important, this is a business. And now they're able to complete the business.
Right.
Yeah. So these are things that in life that you get a chance to share with, like with James and all the Javon. I mean, all of them, baby. It's just a nice thing that the gift that's given to me, for me to share it and pass it on. And that's how I got to that thing, passing it on.
Going to Kappa, that was important because Roger really was drilling that into us. Tom Went and I, reading, get the reading down, because he would tell us that will open up so many more opportunities and things of that nature. So him drilling that in us really was helpful for me, just being able to and I'm not the best reader in the world, but yeah, so I'm really thankful for that, those years of,
And now you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Try.
Yeah. So James, you've played with so many artists: George Coleman, James Moody, Jerry Allen, Kenny Garrett, Benny Goldsmith, Benny Golson, and yet you still have such a strong presence here in Pittsburgh. And have you ever been enticed to leave, or what's special to you about Pittsburgh?
That's a really simple question. Because I have a family here, my wife, and
going back to family.
We thought about, it goes back to family, just like Roger's talking about earlier.
Yeah.
My wife is also a vocalist, but we've thought about it. Of course, we thought about it. I've thought about it many times, and I get questioned about, why haven't I done it? But I guess just have an opportunity to leave Pittsburgh a lot, travel. I guess that was helpful.
Oh yeah, afterwards.
And then I had a lot of roots here, and then it came down to my wife, who this is where she loves. This is where she wants to be.
Beautiful.
I know it's a simple, but that's my family it always comes first, and I hear this thing, happy wife, happy life. So
that's real.
Hey, I know. No, but yeah, I'm supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be in New York.
Found a way to balance, doing the, touring and then being here, and that, like I said, that's not an easy thing to do. But I feel that both of you are great examples of, having a balance and what that looks like, because it's kind of not that usual in our profession, so I think it's great for the students to see an example of that, and how that looks, and how that works,
It's never ending,
Of course.
Still do it till this day.
Constant balance.
Dad, balancing music, work.
Yeah.
So you know.
So I want to invite people that are listening. You can put in questions in the question and answer, and I am learning this technology, and I'll do my best to ask the questions. You guys won't see them, but I'll ask them. Don't worry. You don't have to do anything else with the Zoom stuff. Yeah. But I did want to ask, do either of you have some dreams that you're still looking toward achieving with your music, like things that you'd like to see unfold, like maybe dream projects or people that maybe you'd like to work with that you haven't worked with, or maybe. I was curious, what are like in your work and with what you do, are there any dreams that you have that you're still reaching for? Because I know with music, we're always still learning. We never stop learning. We never stop doing new things. Yeah, and I'm just curious to hear from both of you what that might be for you.
I don't know about you, James.
I mean, I have, you want to go, Raj?
No, I want you to go first.
Normally I would say no. I don't have any like dreams that I'm trying to, achieve. I'm in the moment. There's great opportunities that come, and but I gotta say, I just recently did a tribute to Jerry Allen recently. And it was Yoko was the band leader, and we had 3 concerts, and this last one was Yoko just said, go go find the music and arrange it. And I said it'd be a good idea, and so I picked some tunes and got a string quartet, and I arranged songs around Jerry's compositions. And I think that would be the dream project for me right now, is to go record this stuff. Basically what the concert we just did, with the arranging of we had bass, drums, sax, piano, and we had two violin, viola, and cello. And it was a great experience for me, because it was the first time I had to like write something and perform it with strings.
Wow, that's
so that was special for me. But I think for me, that would be the ideal thing to do next year, is to do that project. Obviously, that takes a little bit of money. So once we get that in hand, that's my dream project.
Beautiful.
Sorry, my son is trying.
Okay. Roger, what about you?
Well, what I wanted to do, I wanted just to ask James a question. Now, besides him studying with me, right? James had other classes he was taking. And thank goodness for that, because that helped him to get the balance to be able to chord structure, you know what I mean? The right songs. And that's why it's so important to me to have as much jazz programs in school like Kappa as you can possibly have, because you never know where it take that child to, man. I mean, the world just opened up, and like people say, well, I don't know why they want to be a musician, or that's because they don't understand the world that we live in. That's a beautiful job to be a musician. Yes. You can go out there and play music, you can make a living. And another thing that we're talking about, like what Harry Clark did, is to have the young people out there like James and them passing it on to the other younger ones. You know what I mean? Learn how to write and how to read the music. Yeah. And that's why I'm just, that's a comment I have, like for him, thank goodness that we had the opportunity, for them to go to school and learn how to do all these wonderful things.
Yeah.
Awesome. I would love to hear just a little story about your experiences playing with Ray Charles.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great experience. He taught me it taught me so much, just being in the band with them, about being a band leader, you know what I mean? But I tell you what, it's not easy. And like, just give you one example. We were getting ready to do the Pepsi Cola commercial with Aretha Franklin, right? And my man, Joe Adam, who was the manager, okay? You seen the movie with Joe Adam was the manager and everything. So we back there with I forget the man name who wrote the tune, who wrote the commercial tune for Pepsi Cola. Anyway, we were all back to all the band. We're getting tired. We've been back there for 2.5 hours. You dig it? So here come Aretha. What I love about people, dear God, she remind me of my sister. Here come Aretha coming in with all this food for us. You dig it? And like we were tired. We're so happy to see Aretha because we're going to get something to eat. And Joe Adams said, no. They can't take a break right now. And see how I took this pause? That's what Aretha did. She took a pause. Everybody got quiet. She said, after me cooking this food, if they don't eat this food, I'm not doing no commercials. So keep quiet. We ate the food.
Wow.
I told her she remind me like of my sister. Like, who you talking to? I cooked all the food. They're going to eat this food. And I loved her for that, man. Just you're on the road too. We was in California, man. And when you be traveling a lot of time, people, this is a business, but you got to be compassionate with the business too. People
That's
still,
right.
it ain't all about the money. And I loved her for that. So you learn so many things, playing with other people, even though Ray Charles had nothing to do with that right then and there. But I learned about the business, and, if you're a few minutes late, what you call a few minutes late, it's going to cost you $50. What? $50. Okay. Anyway, so, and what that teaches, what we laugh about now as you get older, and James laughed about the two, but younger guy. No, it's all about the business, man. The man owned the nightclub. You can't come in here 6:35 when the man wants you to start hitting at 6:30. You think, and you learn all these things and make you more of like a businessman when you're doing things. But I had a lot of fun with him. Matter of fact, I used to play chess on the airplane. Because me and Jerry Allen, we from Pittsburgh. So anyway, he would call my man, the guitar player, come up here and play with him, and he would beat him. You dig it? Then after he called him, hey, Humphries, come on up here. So I go up here and sit down, and I couldn't figure out, every time I turn around with Ray, I'm losing the game. Man, what's going on, man? I know he got his peg and pin down. But then later on, I seen the movie when Ray took a time off, because remember he was having a problem with like maybe his alcohol, whatever it was. He took time off, and when you see the movie, he was doing this every day and more than every day, beating people playing chess with the pen. Then I said to him, no wonder you couldn't beat Ray playing chess, man. Ray was playing this game every day, and when I get up, he'd be laughing. You dig it? But to me, you got to take life as a one-on-one thing. I didn't have no problem with him. You dig it? He was cool with me. He was cool with me, and accepted it like that. And I learned a lot from, his past. I mean, not from his past, but while he was playing music, he was in real estate, okay? And he had the attitude like, yeah, I'm playing music, but I don't ask nobody for no money. I'm going to play music, but I'm going to buy some real estate so I can just be free and play his music.
Exactly. You play what you want to play and when you want to play.
When you want to play, that's right. And like, it was so nice to learn about the business part. Even though we're musicians, people don't know this about us, But he was a nice person to me, man.
Beautiful. I got some questions in here. First of all, people really responded, James, about this Jerry Allen tribute and your dream, your recording.
Give me 1 minute. I want to turn this music on. Go ahead.
Okay. And Michelle Kindholtz said that those were gorgeous arrangements, beautiful.
Oh, thanks, Michelle.
And Linda Jackson was saying, hey, let's get a GoFundMe together so we can get some money for James to do the recording.
I'm all about it. Hit me up.
Yeah. And Ben Wilson was asking about, he was, the earlier conversation we had about the rhythm and all the separate instruments. And he was curious. He wanted to learn from you all what would happen if there weren't drums. Like, how does that work in terms of it still being jazz if there's no drums? And maybe you can give your own explanation of that, James, while Roger
Cut
is.
out a little bit. I'm sorry.
Ben Wilson had asked about the rhythm of the band. When you have a jazz group and everybody's everybody is expressing rhythm. Obviously, the drums are the core foundation of that. So without the drums, how does that work? How does the organization of a song work?
Yeah.
Obviously, we have lots of examples of that in the music, but maybe you just give your spin off of it.
Yeah, I mean, with a band without drums or a band with drums, if you have an ensemble that are listening to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and being a great musician or whatever helps, but like who are listening to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and having a conversation, back to what Roger was saying.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you get there? What we talked about earlier, it's about just exposure, being around it, listening to it a lot, going to see it live,
Right.
practicing, getting you a good teacher, and then you put that in the pot and you stir it up and you just do it over and over again, and then, some great things can happen from that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered the question, but yeah. So,
well, this is related. This is a good question because someone was asking about how do you collaborate with a percussionist? So you're playing drum set and then you have a percussionist. How do you collaborate in a positive way? And they can also lead into, what do you all plan to do on Saturday? By the way, yes, we did get approved for the request that you have. So you can talk a little bit about that. But yeah, give the audience a little idea of what you're going to do on Saturday.
Raj, you want to?
Yeah, what we're going to do, we thought about not only us just playing the drums. It'd be nice to have some kind of a melody, okay? When like singing the song. And what is great about that, our reflection, when they play in the tune, it gives James and I a chance to play the song also melodically, with our drum set, and where you can hear the voices of like the separation is like singing a song, the first four of the melody, and then the second four. Then after that, now you hear the bridge where they're doing the bridge part. Then they come out of the bridge to do that four and that four. Now that's the end of the song. And what we come up to do, we're good at playing, like I said, the melody to the point that people can, like, if you're trying to sing along with us, you may not be able to keep up with it sometimes because we may do some little trickery thing with the rhythm, but it's always, I was brought up this way with Max Roach and Art Blakey. When they played, man, you could hear them play the song and you knew they were coming out because they could finish it and, and complete it. And to me, that's good because like I've always loved to sing. And I first started my band, RH Factor, back in 72. I tried to sing, but the singer was messing up me playing. Because I wanted to, the most important thing I was doing was to play, but then I started making up words, making up names because I couldn't remember the word. So I said, I'm not singing no more. So I let that go. But, it's all a part of like being able to a song. They're going to say, people can be singing along with you. And they're singing along with the drummer. They ain't singing along with the melody, but you can still hear the phrasing and the melody within the structure. So we're going to do some of that and we're going to forget how to do it at the same time once, we get started.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
We're going to have fun though, man. We're looking forward to this for Saturday.
Yeah, it's definitely been highly anticipated.
Yeah, but we're looking forward to it, man. So we can have some fun.
Definitely.
Yeah, James, give them.
it'll be just, just to share the stage with Roger in this way. That's just special enough. But yeah, and having Jeff Grubbs with us and Scott Bonai
yes,
with us on Saturday.
yes, be beautiful, man.
So thank you guys. And yeah, we're just gonna, do what we do, I guess. We do what we do all the time. Play some music, and hopefully the people will enjoy it,
Of course.
Yeah.
We do what we do, right? Yeah, we look forward to it. It's been such a lonely time, like for the both of us.
Yeah, somebody had also asked about what was the question? Are you both looking to go? This is Liam Kowalski asking about how do both of you look towards going back to quote unquote normal in this post-COVID? So yeah.
Yes.
That's what you all were talking about.
Definitely. This keeps my life going, you know what I mean? To be able to look forward. I don't have to play every day, but music is in my head like 24/7, you know what I mean? So I look forward to being able to play, with the guys again. Like I said, I missed it so much, until like sometime I was finding myself getting an attitude. Then I said, "Well, you getting an attitude for it?" Okay, because you ain't playing. All right. And like to practice is one thing, but to play with the guys is another thing. You practice.
And then the audience too.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I miss them so much, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. I hope, just a little bit of time it's going to take, and we'll get back to after the first of the year, maybe in spring, we'll be able to do more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you want to say a little bit? I think RH Factor has been had a real important role in Pittsburgh, as and I loved hearing you all play live. I got a chance to hear you last summer, and it's a wonderful group, and that's like your home base, right? Playing the music with your group and the musicians that you've selected. And tell me about what is it like, the ensemble relationship, communication, all the things we've been talking about. What is it like having like this regular band? Some people don't like doing that. They have different people they play with every time. Other people have like their main group that they stick with, and it becomes like a family. What does that look like for you?
James, you're me.
Raj, I think that's
okay.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah, that was you, Roger. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, what it is for me is because of the fact I've met so many musicians. It's almost like a family. You dig what I'm saying? And like when you come from like the same school of the music, that's why, when you come from the same school of music, you can find a way to blend in. And if you are a good musician, want to be a good musician, you find a way to blend in. It's not about you, it's about the group. Yeah. That's what it comes down to. When you can play and be what you call not selfish, but share some things where one of the other musicians, because of the fact that you play something like that made them feel good, turn around and smile at you. That's like a reward, baby. Because like we were on the same page. James and I, many times, when somebody be playing the lick for you, realize it, we're playing the same lick that they playing. All of a sudden at the same time, they be, okay, man, but it's beautiful to be on that page because you're trying to listen to make things good. And when you're trying to help a person who's playing a solo, that's very important because that makes them feel good. You're not leaving them out there by themselves. Whatever they want to say, you're going to participate with them and try to, be in the same conversation at the same place at the same time. And that's what happens when we play, Yeah.
Wow, that was something too, what you said about coming from the same school, because that I think is something people take for granted, when you have a group of people that really came up and, musically together, and you're always going to be bonded. Like for me coming to Pittsburgh, I'm really coming from a different school coming here, you know what I mean? And like you said, I'm trying to blend in and connect. And, it's like there's definitely overlaps that allow me to do that. You know what I mean? And, my school is Chicago, so it's like, and also avant-garde, and so it's like I'm coming in at this angle, and then I come in and dig in, and I'm really looking forward to next semester, because with COVID, things shut down pretty much right after I got here, so I didn't really get a chance to just dive in. So I'm really looking forward to doing that starting in 2022 and getting deeper in. I know James is like, yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Can't wait.
Well, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, and I know that I like to, my musical personality, I like to nudge people. I like to, I like to I have this just natural inclination to want to try new things and but then I also have a great love for the tradition. So that combination, I think it's going to be a lot of fun playing together. And then, I played with you this summer, and that was fun. So
yeah,
I can't wait to play with you.
Yes, I can't wait to play with you either. Yeah.
Yes,
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. James, were you about to say something?
Oh no, I'm not. I was saying we had that summer gig, but I think we had one before that. I think our first gig together.
Oh, that was really fun.
That was fun.
It was on Valentine's Day, I think.
It was Valentine's Day, yeah. That was fun. Yeah.
At Con Alma. That was really fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait.
So yeah, it's been wonderful talking with you all. There was just one other question someone had about, we talked about education and sharing and giving back. And this person was asking about if you're coming into the music at an older age, and how, I guess they're asking, some people feel like they're too old to learn. Myself, I would respond by saying you're never too old to come into the music. Whatever you've done before is going to inform what you do, and learning music can be very therapeutic too, and that experience in the music is just something that's expansive, for your soul, just to be a part of it. So it's never too late to get into it. I don't know what Charles' response is to that.
No, I like what you said. The most important thing, you're never too old to learn. Only time you get too old to learn when you can't hear. Yeah. You're hearing. Understand what I'm saying? Not to be a wise guy. Only time you get too old to learn when you can't hear, because when you got music, you're always learning new stuff. I'm not talking about learning how to play the piano to be the greatest piano player, the drummer that. I'm talking about you're never too old to learn this music, to listen to it.
Yeah.
Well, maybe with that, and the bell rang, so maybe we'll close out on that note. And it's been such a pleasure to speak with both of you, Roger Humphries, James Johnson III. I'm really looking forward to your performance on Saturday at Belfield.
Yes.
Will we see you?
I will be there in the flesh.
Okay, good.
Okay, yes.
Got your flute?
I was gonna say maybe sit in the play too with it.
I'm always ready to jump in.
Okay, good. All right, cool.
Okay, so yeah, I'm looking forward to your concert. Thank you all for being here for this conversation. And we look forward to it. This concert will be streamed So you can watch from your homes on Saturday. On Friday, we have another concert that is featuring some of our student jazz groups and the unveiling of a new fund for the jazz program from Martin Shore, one of our alumni at Pitt. So it's going to be some support for undergraduate musicians that we're really excited about. So we'll be sharing more about that on Friday, tomorrow night. And I look forward to hearing you all in a few days.
Thank you for the
Thanks.
interview and everything. And I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to hear you play.
Okay. All right.
All right. Take
All
care.
right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
See you later.
All right.